Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to the series on resellers pursuing financial independence. This is a monthly series where we chat with resellers in the community about what financial independence means to them. And, we talk about their strategies pursuing it. We've got a really great guest who's going to talk about all the things she's doing in Canada. And we're really excited. So many great projects going on. But, the thing with financial independence is that every story is different and personal finance is personal. And so we're really glad that you could join us. And today we have our friend Tabs McCaffrey. She goes by Tabs McCaffrey pretty much everywhere, but most importantly, find her on YouTube. She's got a great YouTube channel. We've got the link of her channel in the description below for you. And check her out everywhere. She's got a great Instagram as well, always posting so many fun things. That's where you can find a lot of, I guess, her projects that you might not find on YouTube as well. So please follow her. So let's start off with some icebreakers to get warmed up.
Okay. So we always start our lives with the quick 6. So these are kind of like icebreaker questions. So the first question is going out or cooking at home? Which would you rather?
Cooking at home.
Cooking at home. Who does the cooking, you or your husband?
I do. But I love steak. I love barbecuing. My husband does barbecue, but I prep everything. And we enjoy cooking meals.
Excellent.
Nice.
So are you the type of person that does low risk, steady returns, or high risk, huge potential? Or somewhere in between?
I think I'm more of a risk taker. Definitely.
Oh, okay. All right.
We are roll the dice people.
Oh, yeah. We gotta dive into that a little bit.
So what is your dream vacation spot?
My dream would be Bali. I just want to relax, but we really enjoy going to Hawaii as a family. That's some of our favorite memories, and the culture and the people and the food. And it's a magical place there.
Yeah. We've been wanting to do a beach vacation for a while, but we've had to cancel pretty much every time.
We've had 2 scheduled beach vacations, but one was going to be our honeymoon, and then we canceled that one. And then it was going to be our baby moon, and we canceled that one too. And ended up going local.
Okay.
My dog is interrupting. Hold on.
No worries. Hey, we're going to say hi to people. Well, hey, Terry.
Hi,
Thank you so much for joining us. The Hoogs are here.
Nice.
Hey,
Hi.
Hoogs. We were just talking about you, how great you guys are. And then Joe Dempsey. Hey, Joe. Thanks so much for making it. Terry says, so glad my husband cooks.
Nice. Yeah, King made all of dinner tonight. I told him I didn't want to make dinner, so he made it. The whole thing, which was great.
Yeah, we made a tomato soup with grilled cheeses.
Yeah.
That's one of our favorites too. It's like the easy supper. It's like, quick, it's easy, and everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
okay, so are you the type of family that has orange juice with or without pulp?
3 out of 4 of us with, 1 without, but we go on votes, so she gets voted out.
I love it.
We go on majority in our house.
Yeah. We like pulp. We like pulp in our orange juice mostly.
Yes.
Well, you drink it sometimes, but
no, not really. I don't like pulp.
What?
I don't know why you said we.
Because we usually get pulp.
No. Yeah.
Who buys
We don't drink a lot of orange juice though. I had first trimester, I drank a lot of orange juice. I had like a craving for orange juice, but now I'm like, it's like whatever.
Yeah,
but we usually go.
I reserve it for you.
Yeah, we go together on like usually on Sundays. We'll go together.
Oh,
but yeah. So okay. So when you have the toilet paper on the roll, does the paper go over or does it go under?
There's only one way, and it's over.
Yes.
Who the heck is like fondling the paper trying to find it? No, it only goes over.
Yes.
This is not a question.
That's the right answer. There's only one way. Okay. And then one more. Do y'all tend to do vacations where you go out or staycations?
Vacations. We tend to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. We live in my husband's construction site. So he works for a developer and our house is in the development. So my husband is like, he wants out of Dodge every chance we get because it's where he works, and I don't blame him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like
That would be good.
going elsewhere too. You know, Texas is a really big place though, so we can be driving for 4 hours and still be in Texas. 6
Yeah.
hours even if we go up northward. So,
Yeah.
but anyway,
Yeah.
we're gonna say hi to a few people before we move on. Terry says over for sure, for sure. Elizabeth, hey, thank
Hi,
you so much
Elizabeth.
for being here.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so obviously this is not investing advice. We always have to, you know, whatever it is about, well, not just investment advice, but not financial advice. This is really just us talking about kind of our plans for financial independence and asking Tabs about just the projects that she's got going on and really understanding the various ways that people pursue their form of financial independence. And we like to start off with a working definition. So financial independence, for the most part, is when you have investments or real estate or savings or passive income that is greater than or equal to your expenses. So all of those things kind of fuel whatever financial independence dream that you have. And to us, that might mean early retirement. And um, it, it also means that you don't have to work for money, right? And so basically getting to do what you want at the pace that you want and whenever you want without having to worry about money. So Tabs, do you have anything to add to that? When you think about financial independence, what comes to mind?
I think living a life of fulfillment, right? Just being happy. To me, it doesn't necessarily mean quitting your job, but being able to accommodate the time to do the things you love, right?
Yeah.
So instead of working that 9 to 5 and it's so structured and you can't, you can't do this because you have to work that day or you have a project or a deadline. I want openness. I want to be able to choose the days I work. And if we have a snow dump of 3 feet, I want to be able to hit the slopes. I don't want to have to go to work.
Yeah, yeah. When I think about that and reselling, reselling is kind of like the dream of a lot of people who want a flexible schedule. That's why we gravitated towards it. Do you think you ever, since you do reselling part time, do you think you'll ever do that full time to have more flexibility, or do you like the amount of flexibility you currently have with your job?
So I'm fortunate and I have quite a bit of flexibility with my job because I am a casual employee. I basically pick up the shifts I want and I only work the days I want. And I've kind of set my work schedule that I only work Monday to Wednesday. And if for some reason they didn't have shifts that week, I just walk away. It's like, okay, I'm not working this week. I guess I'm reselling. But that doesn't really happen often. And then, yeah, I think with the reselling, I like that. I don't know. Yes, I will go full time. I'm going to say that because my intention is in 4 years that I will be moving and I'll be quitting where I'm working and I will continue to work so I work in pharmacy. I'm a licensed pharmacy technician. I will work the minimum amount of hours to maintain my practice license and my insurance and things like that, but I don't foresee myself using that as a main income.
Nice. Excellent.
So our kids will be adults. Like really in 4 years, both my kids are adults, and I feel like that responsibilities might so you have a little bit more freedom. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
a bit easier to make some of those decisions, and yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your story of how you got into reselling, how, since we're kind of talking about that. And that's how most people know you already. So
Yes, yeah. We've been reselling for a very long time. It just wasn't clothing. So back in our 20s, we were young parents, and my husband and I built houses on the side. So we worked full time. My husband's worked in residential construction since he was 18, and we would build a house over 2 years, live in it, and then sell it. And we just kind of would do that every few years, and we were able to build up equity to reduce our mortgage and pay off, vehicles and properties, things like that. Our goal is to not be debt heavy. So we don't believe in taking out loans for everything. Like, we kind of have a rule, if we can't, oh my gosh, my dog. She can't believe this open. She's really old, and no one's home, so she's wanting to be in and out. Yeah, so we don't believe in loans and stuff. And if we can't afford to buy something, we don't buy it. So if we have to buy a car, we don't buy anything brand new. Everything we buy is like used or secondhand. And we reduced that. So we built houses. While we were doing that, my husband also sold like snowmobiles, sled trailers, things like that. So he would drive down into Montana when the dollar was really good, and he would buy things because they were a lot cheaper down in the States, and then he would bring them up and sell them up here.
Nice.
So he was kind of doing some flipping back then.
Yeah, retail arbitrage, but like country arbitrage almost.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I don't even know, like, the time frames. It just feels like it's gone by so fast, but it was many years. So it's like 10 years ago, I used to do furniture refinishing, and I had a blog, and I enjoyed doing it when we were living in Edmonton. And then when we moved to Saskatoon, it was a much smaller city. It was like a quarter of the size of the city we had lived in. There were already people here that were doing it. And I just told my husband, I don't want to have to compete. Like, the furniture was more expensive to buy, to refinish. I said, I just wasn't looking to be in such a competitive market. I did it because I enjoyed it. It was like a side thing, right? So then I kind of started just dabbling into reselling, and I was doing Navajo blankets on Etsy. Ooh. And then I kind of started doing like 90s clothes on Depop. And then somehow I came across Poshmark. And I always have to give them a little bit of like, I don't know, like I have to give them credit, because they really projected what I did after. Like, they set me on that path, and Poshmark was a very easy platform to learn. I kind of started to build an Instagram. I didn't know everything that was going, like the community, until probably 3 or 4 months after I started reselling. And then, I just been reselling clothes. I stick to clothes, shoes, some purses. That is it. I don't really do hard goods. I don't have the space, I think, to store them. That's a concern for me. So I find clothing is just the quickest and easiest, and what I have most knowledge in.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel like I have this impression that you were an early adopter of Poshmark Canada. Is that true? Like, you were like one of the, maybe not the first few users, but like you were there pretty early on.
I feel like it was out for about a year, maybe a little bit less, when I started using it. And I had downloaded the app in January 2020. But I thought it was like scammy. I was like, what is this? Is it real? Right? Like, I was just like really speculative. And then it was in June where I listed my first item. So it took me 6 months to list my first item on there. And I was just selling on Depop before then.
Oh, wow.
So I would say I'm like in a group of the beginners, but there were definitely people that were like first year.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, you've built a whole lot of great things. And it sounds like, if we take a step back, that you and your husband have been doing this together for a really long time. So it would probably make a lot of sense that he supports you in all of these endeavors. Kind of, does he play any role in this reselling of clothing, or does he stick to kind of commercial and other building related things?
He enjoys thrifting now. He will come with me. Like, it's not uncommon if we're at home on a weekend, if I'm like, hey, you want to go to Valley Village on a Saturday morning, and we'll go, grab a coffee and we'll go there for an hour. Or if we're driving somewhere, because we spend a lot of time traveling, we will swing through thrift stores en route. But those, when we're traveling, I'm on a time limit. Like my family's like, you have 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And then usually I'm like, well, you all have to come in and everyone has to find 1 or 2 items.
Right.
But yeah, no, he's pretty supportive. He doesn't do clothing reselling on his own, but it's so cool because his wardrobe is converting into secondhand clothing, where he was always like a brand name buyer, brand new. It was like, he didn't see it that way. And this change I've seen in my whole family over the last 2 years is just, I love it. I think it's amazing. And I'm proud. Like, I'm proud to say my clothes are thrifted, or my husband's outfit is thrifted. I found this jacket thrifting.
Yeah, it sounds like a great transition. You know, it's like, it sounds like you still value a lot of good things, right? I think going from like brand name to thrifted items, you still have to have high quality, I would imagine. You know, it's like there's a reason why you buy the brand name things in most cases, and that's usually quality.
Yes. Which he was like, he's so surprised. I can remember the first time he really found like jeans. Like he likes Volcom. I don't even know what brands. They're always like skate shop or like snowboard shop type clothing. And he would spend like $75 on jeans or more, right? And he was he's like, and I remember him coming out, he's like, these are only $25. I was like, that's kind of expensive for those aren't even like real brand name. He's like, do you know how much I pay for these in the store? And then like now I bet you like 75% of his jeans come from Value Village now.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
2 years is, you know, working around that and having your family be more involved is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a good thing in our family. Definitely.
Yeah. So we're going to catch up a little bit on the chat.
Sure.
So Terry asks, where are you located?
I am in Saskatchewan, in Canada, and it's like the middle province. We're the prairies. We would be, what are we above? Minnesota, a bit of Montana, North Dakota. I don't know. I feel like I'm still relatively new to this province, so I know Montana is underneath us, and yeah.
That's okay.
Fun. Yeah.
I hardly know any U.S. states up there. You know, I know Boise, Idaho is up there somewhere.
Well, and you guys have like so many states.
Yeah.
So many reasons.
And Jeff is here. Thanks,
Hey,
Jeff. Jeff says hit the like button. We agree.
Yeah.
That's great.
You got
And
Ashley Wheeler.
Ashley. And she says space is big for hard goods. I know. Yes. And it's like a different process. That's the hard thing, I think, for us, is that like packing it up is different. Like you need different packing materials. You can't use all the same boxes and the same bags. And so it's just like all of a sudden it's like everything goes from like algebra to like trigonometry or calculus or something, you know, like it's like just a totally different game.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. And it's go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I feel like what I like about doing just one category is I'm able to like streamline my processes. So with clothing, it's like I have set poly mailer sizes. Because in Canada, we don't have the free box. Like you guys have, what the heck? I always see them. They're like,
the post office
priority
boxes,
mail
standard box sizes, right? Where in Canada, we don't have that. So I have like my standard poly mailer sizes. I don't know. Even the photography, like everything kind of changes when you start to do multiple things.
Yeah.
And you like efficiency. We like efficiency. We're talking the same language.
Yes.
It's just way different to do hard goods for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Terry says we're headed out Sunday in our travel trailer to Virginia and back thrifting. My sister is going with us. I'm so excited. That sounds so fun, Terry. Oh my gosh.
We have dreams of doing that too.
Yeah. Someday we'll have a travel trailer or something like that. Yeah. And Scott is here. Hey, Scott.
Cha-ching.
Welcome. We're so glad you're here. He says, I don't know Tabs McCaffrey, but that has to be the coolest name I've ever heard. So there you go.
Thank you. Scott,
a flatterer.
Yes.
So great with words.
So since Terry mentioned going out in her traveler trailer, I thought maybe we could kind of transition to some of the other projects that you have going, Tabs, things that, other things beyond reselling and other ways that you're, expanding your financial independence or just really independence in general.
Building for the future, all of that.
Yeah.
Yes. I believe in multiple streams of income, and it's finding the right ones that work for you. And I think with maybe your skill set or what you have available, I guess, I have been able to build, through YouTube, which is awesome. I'm part of the YouTube paid partnership. Affiliate linking, right? That's a great way to bring in extra money. And I find that to be passive, where once you have certain subscriptions, like they're just kind of reoccurring payments that people are making that you're collecting a percentage of. And then I also like real estate, and that's kind of our goal, is to have rental properties. So currently right now, I guess, so we have the house we live in. This is our primary residence. We have a lake cabin that we purchased 10 years ago. No, 11 years ago, I think. And when we moved from the last city we lived in to here, we took some equity and paid off that mortgage. So we own that lake property, which is nice. When we choose to sell it, that turns into all money that we can put into something else. So to us, it's kind of like sitting there and it just kind of keeps building, right? It's building value. That property, I can't see depreciating. It's just going to continue to go up. And then we also recently just purchased a house, or a cabin, I guess, what we call it, in the mountains. So that when we purchased it, we originally thought as a vacation property and possibly an Airbnb. And the plan has kind of changed. So our goal now, like once realizing how cheap the cost of living is there, and then what our goals were to be out west, we're like, okay, I think we're going to move out there. And the plan has turned into turning that into a rental property, because there's like no rental properties in the area that we live, or that we have a place out there. It's kind of a mining community, and it's very, very limited to rentals. And then build a house there. And then another project we just started is we bought an ambulance, and we are converting it into a camper ambulance, and we're going to use it for thrifting adventures for our YouTube channel. And then we are also going to be doing kind of like a conversion channel where we're going to show the conversion of it. And then we're going to do kind of adventures. And we do a lot of outdoor stuff. Like we are a very busy family. So I'm excited to kind of do adventure videos, I guess, on the different areas that we go. Like, okay, we went mountain biking in Fernie. We did these trails, kind of talking about the trails, the levels. We could take it into snowboarding. We like kayaking, we do hiking, we do rock climbing, we do skinning. So like that's like where you kind of like cross country ski up the mountain. We do like sledding. Like we just have so many things, and I'm like, oh man, we could travel around in this. And yeah, so we see that that's going to be another channel coming out too.
Nice. Yeah, when you put that out, give that to us. We'll link it down below so that it's attached to this video once that gets published too. We would love to have everyone kind of follow along, because I feel like your content on YouTube currently is great. It is kind of practice for the vlogging and all the other stuff that you're going to be doing for the second channel. It's going to be so good. I just know it.
Yes, I'm excited. And my husband's in it. My husband doesn't do much in my YouTube channel right now, but he is like, we're 50-50 on this. So he's going to do the editing and stuff, but he is going to be in it.
Oh, awesome. Wow. So you have a co-star this time.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's take a step back. I want to ask you about how you got started with kind of just real estate in general, and kind of what you had in mind when you started, or any concerns you had, like from the perspective of someone listening who's never done it before, or things that they might want to know to get started to build this type of wealth that is long lasting.
Yeah. So for us, we took some really big chances when we were young. You know what? I am so sorry. My dog is like, can you guys hear it on the video?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Okay, let me just go see if I can. I'm so sorry. Give me
We're going to say hi to some people. That's okay. Scott says he's leaving for Duluth.
Are you driving to Duluth, Scott? Or you have to be flying, right?
I sure hope so.
Because
that's a long way.
That is a long way from Texas. That's crazy.
Well,
yes.
There's plenty of time to get us those diapers.
Yes, for sure.
we've got a lot currently, Scott, so don't worry about that too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff knows all about multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
Camping ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, our friend Brittany over at Essential Endeavors is also doing something similar. So, you know, there's a big community about just mobile homes, like converting buses and, you know, all that.
Buses, camper vans, you know, all that sort of thing.
Sprinter vans. Yeah, all of those. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
You know, we talk about wanting to do it, but I don't think we would ever do it.
Yeah, we were on, you know how you're just like on Facebook Marketplace and it shows you different listings. Well, last night it showed us a listing for a pop-up camper, and we were like, oh, maybe we need a pop-up camper.
Yeah, it was only $3,500.
And now, like, once you click on something on Facebook Marketplace, then it shows you like that listing, like that category of listings, like 10,000 times. And so now it's like our whole Facebook Marketplace feed is just pop-up campers. But...
yeah, it's funny.
Oh well, we'll have to get one maybe. I don't know.
Maybe that can be a project for you, Scott.
Yeah.
If you're interested in it, it's really fascinating. You know, we're not like deep into the community, but we know about it, and we've seen so many people's projects that it's just really exciting. But I don't know that we would ever do it.
Yeah.
Not at this stage of life, anyway.
Right. Yeah.
But that sounds really cool for you, Tabs. I mean, to do it with your spouse and, you know, get your hands dirty and see something transform. When we were watching Brittany Essential Endeavors, you know, whole process, it seemed like there was so much to do, but they were having fun, and seeing the transformation and all of that is just really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's highs and lows.
So you've gotten started though, right?
Sorry?
You've gotten started though, right?
We did, yeah. We're doing exterior right now, so we're having some troubles getting parts. So my husband doesn't want it to necessarily look like an ambulance with the lights on it. So we're replacing the front quarter panels, I guess. And he just ordered a new grill because they had cut out part of the grill to have like the sound things. I don't know the words.
Yeah, the speakers. Yeah.
And so we're just kind of getting a few of the exterior parts. We are going to do a wrap kit on it. And we did. So like, for those that, I guess no one would know this, but my father-in-law bought an ambulance last year and we converted it. So the problem was during COVID, all the ski lodges were closed inside, right? So you couldn't go in to warm up, and we're a big skiing and snowboarding family. And my father-in-law was like, okay, well, what could we have where we could still get dressed and get ready or go warm up and not have to risk going in the chalet, or in that instance, the chalets were just closed down. So how do you warm up without just sitting in your vehicle? And he came across this idea that we could do an ambulance, and we were like, this is a great idea. So he got it. We helped him convert his. And then my husband and I, originally we were looking for more of like a sprinter van or an econo van. But my husband wanted one tall enough for him. So he's 6 feet tall. And he said, I just want something I can stand in and not hunch over. But they're really expensive and they're hard to come by. So it was kind of something that we had put on the shelf, and we were like, okay, if we come across the right one, we would scoop it up. And it was just a month ago, I guess, he was on Facebook Marketplace, and there's this town about 20 minutes outside of Saskatoon. And he's like, they have an ambulance for sale. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, it just went up. And I was like, let's go look at it. He's like, well, what if we don't want it? I said, so then we don't buy it, right? Like I look at this and make the decision there. And if we think about it, we're going to lose the opportunity because these don't stay on the market very long. And we went out, and as soon as we went out, it was for a fire department had it for the last, I think 7 or 9 years. They used it for ice rescue. And I was like, oh, like how many, do you do a lot of ice rescue? He's like, not at all. He's like, so we just use it as warming up. So he said, if there's a bad accident on the highway in winter, they pull it out there. they use it just to warm up, eat their lunches or whatever, if they're going to be on the side of the highway for 8 hours. So it really did not get much use in the last, say, 10 years.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool inside.
So you've got experience doing it. You
Yeah.
recently picked it up. That must be so exciting.
It is. Oh, yes. And we're recording things as we go through. I have a lot of video clips right now. I think I just have to decide how I'm breaking down the conversion and what parts we're going to compress. And like, it's hard to tell what people are going to be like. Do you want just us doing exterior? Do you know what I mean? Sometimes people do a little bit more compressed. And so it's just kind of deciding what we're going to do with that. But we haven't made too much progress. We got off all the decals on the outside, and that took, I don't know, that took like 15 hours.
Wow. Oh
it took a long time.
Yeah. Well, you said that it's expensive. It sounds like, you've thought about it for a long time. You thought about the value that it brings to your family. Kind of take us through, what you hope to have it for the long term. Like, aside from, thrifting in it, aside from skiing, is there a long-term value play in it? Would you eventually sell it if you didn't want it anymore? How does that work?
Yeah, that is a potential. So we have another converted enclosed trailer my husband did over the pandemic. And that was originally what we were going to use. And after using it for a year, we were like, hey, we want more amenities. There's just changes we knew we wanted. So I think we're actually going to sell that one. We're going to use this ambulance. And then I actually could see us selling it when we're done using. I could see us trying to go towards a sprinter. The problem with the ambulance, this one it's not taller than 6 feet inside. It's probably like 5'8", 5'10" maybe. So my husband still has to bend over. So it's not his ideal, but for the price point of what we purchased it for compared to what we would have to spend on like a sprinter or an Econo, we were kind of like weighing it out. Okay, well, we can make do with this because we're saving a lot of money, but I don't think it's our ideal forever. So yeah, we potentially would just use it for however long until the next great thing project or potential project comes along, and then we would probably sell it. But yeah, we want to start a travel channel, like I said, and turn that into kind of a source of income as well, and do 2 YouTube channels. So I would have my reselling, and then we'll have our adventure channel. But it's not hooked to just the ambulance. It could be whatever we're using for our adventures.
Right.
Awesome.
But our kids will be grown, right, in like 4 years. So potentially, I think my husband and I think it's just going to be him and I traveling around doing these things.
Wow. Well, when you go thrifting in it, you can show that you're thrifting in this ambulance, and then you can point people to your other vlog channel, and it's like cross contamination, which is great, which is, it's the best of both worlds. You can promote both channels that way. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's hard to do lifestyle stuff on a reselling channel, I find. Like, it's hard to mix things. And I feel like because both of my worlds just have so much going on, like, why not? Why not do a channel for each one? Once you get over the hump of just creating a channel, it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've got Paul, the flipping sports guy here. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Oh, we were asking Scott if he was gonna drive to Minnesota.
Wow,
he says
Scott,
he's gonna
that's
drive.
crazy.
That's crazy.
Wow.
What's he
So
doing?
he's in Texas, and driving to Minnesota is a few hundred miles. So
it has to be 1,000 miles. It has to be 1,000 miles.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Duluth, and I feel like Duluth is like northern Minnesota too.
They have
toy hauler.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah.
Right, and you ride Harleys. That's so cool. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Okay, so it's funny because we actually used to have a toy hauler as well. We used to race motocross as a family, so all of us raced motocross. And just before the pandemic was kind of when we stepped away. It really changed everything. But I kind of wish we still had it, because you're right. That is the perfect reselling trailer to go, because you can sleep in it and you have a ton of storage. You can put all your bags and all your goodies in it. Yeah. And you could find like big items too, not just limited to clothing.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Wow. Wow. Are there any like adventure sports that your family doesn't do? Like, what are the things that like you don't? I feel like you've like named every adventure sport that I like can think of that.
I feel like we do everything. I do. I feel like we do everything. I don't know. We just love being outside. We love being outdoors. We're adrenaline junkies. We're risk takers, like I said, right? So we enjoy that stuff. Yeah. No, I think we pretty much cover it all.
Nice. Awesome.
Our sports equipment room is like lots of stuff.
Wow.
You live such a vibrant life. We love it. Please share more on Instagram. We want to live vicariously through you.
Yeah.
Well, I think like one of the things I really just tell people is you're not guaranteed tomorrow, right? You're not guaranteed your health at 65. If you're living for retirement, that's a roll of the dice. That's probably one of the biggest gambles I think people take, is thinking that they are hoping that they're going to have a high quality of life at 65. And that's something my husband and I have just in the last 5 years really changed, where it was like, we're not guaranteed. And my husband actually he has rheumatoid arthritis. So I think it definitely sits for us that we're not guaranteed his health at 65. So we need to do all the things we really love until we can no longer do them, basically.
Yeah.
And if we get more than 65, oh my gosh, that's going to be a wild life. But, but yeah, just making time for that.
That totally resonates with us. Let's dive deeper into this, because that's part of what financial independence is, and kind of the journey that Camilla and I have, where we're trying to live our best life, but also pursue this kind of long-term goal, right? There's this balance that we have to have with regard to, trying to make money, but also going on vacations when we feel like it, when we want to, not have to worry about the money, the financial aspects of it, trying to balance all of that, and, living so that we feel like we're not waiting until we retire to live it up, like you said. And so it's so fascinating to me that you have a version of this that is, you don't call it, pursuing financial independence like we do, but you have that same mindset, and building wealth is really about a mindset. That's the bottom line, is that when you have something that you really want, and a life that you're trying to pursue, and living to the best of what you want, that's wealth. That's not just monetary wealth, but a life well lived. And Camilla and I talk about this stuff all the time. It's not just about money. It's about the things that you value, putting that first, and then figuring out how to get there without spending an atrocious amount of money.
Yeah,
I agree. And I think the biggest step anyone can take, like the first step you have to take, is reducing your debt. You cannot get ahead with a high debt ratio. Like it's impossible. All of your money is going into your debt and your interest. So I think the biggest step that people can make is reducing that debt. So if you can't afford that, $40,000 car, then you probably don't need that $40,000 car, right? And I think understanding that everything new depreciates as soon as it comes off the lot, right? I mean, except for house, like there's certain things that don't, but like vehicle wise, toy wise, like people, if you're wanting to get a camper trailer, you don't need the new one off the lot. You can get a good used one on Kijiji, and doing things as much as you can with the money that you have. And then you don't have to make as much money, right? And that's kind of where we're trying to set up right now, is we're like, okay, well, we could continue living in the city we live in right now, but the cost of living is really high here. The houses are high, our taxes are high. It's just like the bills are higher. Do you know what I'm saying? And then compared to our house that we have out west, our property tax is a fraction. It's like a quarter of what we pay here. The bills are different, and that's part of it just being a different province, but that area of that province just has a really low cost of living. So we were like, okay, we could live here and we don't have to make a ton of money. And if we're debt free, that makes it even easier.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's something that we've been working on, is like, as we got married and all of that, like we've been tracking expenses and everything, because knowing you know, how much money you spend and like where all your money is going gives you like the ability to make, you know, kind of eyes wide open decisions about like what's happening, you know. And for us, it was a lot of like, okay, if we can lower expenses enough, then, you know, that was what enabled me to, you know, become a full-time reseller and quit my job, you know, and all that kind of stuff where it's like, yeah, we didn't actually need my income from my full-time job, and we could switch. And this reselling income, like, yes, we are making money reselling, but at the same time, if we weren't making money reselling, we could still swing, you know, our life, you know, and all that. So it's kind of like you kind of build these things of like, okay, here are the building blocks of like, if I want less, then I don't have to work as much, and I'm not, you know, like tied to this responsibility of a job. And to my employer and the whims of my employer and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, I 100% agree. Yeah.
Scott says, when the zombie apocalypse begins, camping ambulances must have.
Yes.
Over 1,200 miles from where he is
crazy.
in Texas to
Minnesota.
That's like 2,000 kilometers. Like that's far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, kilometers, that's far.
You got Danielle.
Hi, Danielle.
Hey.
How's it going?
Oh, thank you.
Instagram and YouTube. Awesome.
I'm 60. Okay, so my husband has psoriatic rutatic arthritis, Terry. Exact same thing.
Yeah. Do it all young.
Exact same thing. Yeah. So, and it's so interesting. Do it all young. Exactly. So I think once you start to have immune diseases, it definitely changes your outlook. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Danielle says she's got a new phone and one for teenage new driver.
Wow.
Scary. Oh.
Yes, oh gosh, I agree with you. I have two teenagers, one adult teenager and one young teenager that were, those phone bills. They're a lot. Well, here's my tip for the phone bill. My daughter wanted a new phone, and she's 19. She's going to college, and she wanted to upgrade her phone, but our bill would have changed, and then they amortized the payments of it. And my husband and I said she could only get a new phone if she bought it outright. So we said that we were not going to add on to the payment because it would increase the payments, which every time you do it, your payment just gets bigger and bigger with the cell phone company. So we have a rule in our house that if you want a new phone, you got to be able to buy it. And if you can't buy the new phone, you don't get it, because otherwise you're paying for it plus the interest and whatever. And they got you hooped into the plan too.
Yeah.
So
that's
the way to do it. Camilla and I have the same phone, and it's kind of the older phone. So it's you know, in use status, but they're brand new phones, but they're a few generations back. Did you try to convince her to maybe get an older phone or anything like that? Or was she adamant about getting?
No, but I feel like she actually bought it off of Kijiji. I think she bought it used. And it's funny because I got a new 12 Pro last year, and I bought it through a pawn shop. And I think I did pay quite I mean, it was still $900, but I think it was like a $2,000 phone. So I think you can even get like a newer phone. You just have to be like, go on Facebook Marketplace. Tons of people are selling their practically brand new phones for much less than if you sign into a contract. So I think both of our phones were still used.
Amazing.
For sure. Danielle says, beyond our mortgage, the majority of our spending is grocery and gas. And that's actually true for a lot of people. Their highest, you know, expenses are, you know, your mortgage, your car, so gas, and, you know, insurance on your car, things like that, and then groceries. And so one thing that in the financial independence community that they talk about is basically like not necessarily focusing so much on like reducing your restaurant spending or, you know, whatever, but like look at these three main categories and try to reduce these, because that's going to have a much bigger impact than, you know, $10 here, $5 here, whatever, things like that.
I agree. I agree. And same, like my daughter bought her car 2 years ago, and that was the same thing. She wanted to get a new car, and she's like, well, with my job, I can afford a loan, and I can get, you know, an SUV for say 25,000. And we were like, yeah, but you have to make that payment for 4 years and you're going to have interest on that. And we convinced her to get a used car, and she got a Ford Focus, all leather, fully loaded for like, I don't even know, it was like $6,000 or something. And she paid for it cash and never has to make another payment on it. So all she has to do is pay, you know, to plate it and her insurance. And yeah, I think that's like reducing even some, like you said, those big things. If you can get those smaller, those have big impacts, definitely.
Right. Yeah. And loan officers will love to tell you what you can afford, but they don't actually know. Like they want to tell you that you can afford way more than what you actually can afford, but also what you actually need. Like you can get caught up in like, oh, well, we could afford, a $1 million house or something, but it's like, okay, but do you actually need a $1 million house? Probably not.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with anyone that's buying new vehicles or wants the big, like there's nothing wrong with that. I just like you're saying, like for our plan and for your plan, if what those goals are, it's exactly. They're going to let you have a debt ratio of 80%, but is that realistic? Can you live off of just 20% of your income?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And, like you're saying, finances is all about, making choices about what you value and all of those things. And so you can't have other people coming in and telling you what you value and how you should be, valuing your money and how you should be using it and things like that. So it does take a little bit of like, you have to know what you want to spend your money on and how you want to spend your time too. Because those two things are so tied together, that, like you with your family and all of the adventure sports that you guys are doing, that might not be someone else's like ideal life,
Yes, 100%.
So, them making decisions about their finances can't be, just in comparison to you and all of that. But that's kind of what we're hoping to show in these lives, is that there's so many different ways to live your financial life, to live your life in intentionality. Yeah.
And I think even just all the things we do, like there's costs associated with that, right? So to have a season pass for our family to go skiing, I think my husband said it was like $2,000. So to have that money, right, we have to reduce expenses other ways. So like even all the fun stuff we do, that stuff has costs, but we choose to reduce our spending in other areas of our life so we can do all the fun stuff that we wanted to.
Yeah, we totally do that too. It's like, where can we save money so that we don't necessarily hold on to that money, but put it elsewhere with the things that we actually value. And the thing that we often talk about is, we don't always go to restaurants to have a meal, and we like the experience sometimes, but not all the time. We like saving money at home, cooking, so that we can do other things like travel and go to a resort or whatever, the things that we actually value. And it really makes sense to change your mindset that way. It's like really hone in on the core values of your life so that you can focus on that, save money elsewhere so you can focus on those things that you value most.
Yes, I agree. And whatever you value, right? Whatever is important to you, I agree.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to say hi. Hi, Anita.
Hi, Anita.
Anita's here. And she says, yep, and taxes. That is also another big expense for people. And you don't realize it until you have a small business like as a reseller, and then you have to pay like throughout the year and it's not being withheld from your paycheck anymore. And you're like, wow, I actually pay a lot of taxes. Like when you see it all together. Yeah.
Is that kind of how it is for Canada too, where if you are self-employed, you're gonna pay in chunks?
I think it depends on how much you're making. So last year would be my first like big year. Otherwise, things that we sold or like things that we did, we would just pay a capital gain on. But this tax season, which I am just working with my account, my taxes aren't due till the end of June, and I've had some issues with a previous accountant. So we don't have to pay them. I think depending on your income, depending on how much you make, you may have to pay quarterly for your GST, which would be your like federal tax kind of thing.
Okay.
So we'll see what what we set up. He was talking with me about voluntary. So basically I can just say, I'm going to put in $2,000 every 3 months. And then at the end of the year, when we do it, we'll calculate it and then I'll just pay the difference. But I've made kind of installments throughout the year.
Nice. Yeah. Similar.
Yeah. That's kind of how it works here, where if you make a certain amount, you have to do the estimated,
Yes.
like you can't like owe a bunch of money at the end of the year.
Yes.
But I think it's kind of nice because at least right now we have like inflation and all of this stuff. And so it's kind of like you almost want to pay it now because you feel like it's like going to be more money later. But it's all interesting, the different things of all of that. But
there's like differences, but so many similarities. Like lots of things I'll hear through other resellers, and then I'll kind of like look them up in Canada, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty similar. Or or the law is just has a different name, but very, very similar.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So Terry says, I bought us a generic generator with my eBay, paid cash. My husband was very happy. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I find I do like anything we're looking for. I'm like, let me look on eBay and see.
Yeah, we did that a little bit ago, and we were looking for like this tiny little, like a small camping chair to take to the bins, so I could sit down and at the bins. And so we looked on Poshmark and on eBay, and we almost bought one, and it was going to be like $15. And then we looked on like the regular like sporting goods store, and it was only like $5 new. So then we were like, well, we're really glad we didn't buy it.
Sometimes it's not. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but most things we buy on eBay because we'd rather get something secondhand than new and have it cheaper. But
well, speaking of a generator, though, it's almost hurricane season, and I saw a generator at the pawn shop the other day. I'm wondering if I should buy it. Anyway, speaking of,
something you probably don't think about hurricane season, but
no,
but then again, we don't have blizzards up here, down here, so completely different, worries in different seasons.
Yes,
Would love to see a video on this topic. Curious. See, I don't know if we should tread on that at all. we're very picky.
My accountant does
it. We like to talk about some of our strategies, but I don't know that we would really ever talk about our full business taxes. That's, I don't know, we open ourselves to a lot of trouble there too.
Yeah, we're definitely not experts for sure on taxes or anything. We're not doing like a lot.
She does a lot. Yeah, she understands. You understand, Anita.
Yeah.
I dabbled in some Robinhood stock during the pandemic, but I really don't understand it too much. I hate to admit that, but I bought an oil stock for 7 shares, and it's went up a lot. That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have to really, really understand a stock to invest in it. If you use something like groceries, if you see that you buy a lot of any certain product, it's like, it could be a no-brainer, right? It's like, if it's at a low enough price, if you see kind of a dip or whatever, and you use it, then it makes sense to get it. So great intuition, Danielle.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you do much investing, Tabs?
I do a little bit, yeah. So
all right.
I do some stock stuff. We were doing quite a bit of crypto, which is kind of like, not doing so good right now. But we do have a rule where we don't invest what we're not willing to lose, obviously. And then I think that was what you just said, like invest in what you know. So I work in pharmaceuticals, and that's something that I'm most comfortable in. And I know most of my coworkers that also invest, that's where we tend to lean to, just because that's where our knowledge is. We're familiar with certain brands. We know what's coming onto the market. We know which brands are doing well and things like that. So I would say that's where I would put mine into, would be health and pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. We were talking before we got on about because we mostly invest in index stocks, which are like, it's a ton of different companies. And so we invest in I don't know how many are in the index fund that we invest in, but
It's like
a ton
3,000.
of American companies.
Yeah,
So
3,000 or so.
essentially we're invested in the American economy.
Yes.
So are you, as a Canadian, are you invested in like Canadian companies, American companies, combination of all of those, international type things? I don't know how that looks in a different country.
So, and we can do both. Art like this, I use, what the heck app is it? Why can't I think of it? I just know, Simple Wealth or Wealth Trader. What the heck is it? Yeah.
Wealthfront?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. Oh, my app says I need to update it too. Okay. I just know the icon on my phone. That's so bad. We have access to Canadian and US market. I tend to do Canadian because it's 0 fees if I invest in Canadian. If I go into the US market, I have to pay fees into it. But I have in the past, like my husband and I have done various different stock market investments. We have done American, but I do tend to stick to Canadian now. And my goal is index. Yes, that is my goal.
Yeah.
Nice.
Start building it.
Not investing advice, people.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
not at all. And I am not a pro. Obviously, I don't even know what the name of the app is. And that's like our retirement plan is more my husband is a workaholic. He will work until he can no longer work no more. And he would go crazy if he didn't have something to do. So I think the life of retirement isn't necessarily for him in that sense, but he'll do things that he enjoys more at his own pace on the projects he wants to work on, kind of thing. So our goal is more reduce that cost of living really low. We're going to cash in our properties that we have out here. We're going to pull that money out and then we can choose to invest a portion of it. We can choose to buy into a business. Hopefully we have some passive forms of income by then and a couple properties that we're managing. So kind of creating multiple and then seeing like our plans are fluid, right? Nothing's set in stone for us because we have so many, I feel like because we have so many options and so many plan A, plan B, plan C, that we have flexibility and things can change, right? And the market can change, everything can change. It's just putting your eggs into multiple baskets, I guess. That's a big thing for us.
Yeah, diversifying, where all that income is going to come from. And then reducing the amount of risk that, based on your expenses. So closing in that, like, okay, how much do we actually need so that we can have this flexibility with these different options. Yeah.
You've got all the core principles, If you wanted to join the financial independence community, you'd read up on it and be like, oh yeah, I'm already doing all of that stuff.
And that's what I think. I think there are a lot of things that we're already doing. But I just always think too, like we have to think everyone's at different points in their journey too, right? Like some people just started this. Some people, like for my husband and I, we've been doing this for 20 years already. So we have quite a bit of equity put into our life through various things. So it's easy for me to say, well, just go loan free. But realistically, we're just further down in our journey and can do that, right? But it takes time to get there. And there's no better time, right, than to start now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just start. You just got to start. And once you start making those choices, you learn more, it gets easier and you can move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Terry says she's in Houston also. Oh my gosh. We'll have to meet up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so fun. And Danielle says UCO was the stock. I don't know if I know what
that is.
What oil company that is. And it says that her husband works for UPS and he has invested in it at a discount for many, many years. That's the way to do it, I think, because like if you're working for that company, you see the production of it. Like stocks are tied to productivity, like they're tied to, industries and actually like how much money that company is making and all that kind of stuff. So if you're kind of in that, you're confident in the company, the company is a good company. You've worked for it for years. That's the best way to do it too. To kind of be within that to see like, okay, it's growing. You're kind of on the insider track in some ways. So
that's super fascinating because USPS, which is our United States Postal Service, is doing so poorly that it's given UPS and FedEx a lot of kind of ground to sneak up and take a lot more share. So that's great. I feel like UPS and FedEx are really gonna take it away in the future.
Yeah. Well,
anyway.
Yeah.
Just speculation. Don't listen to me.
Yeah.
Not investing much.
But yeah, UPS is more like does a lot of more commercial type things. Like, yeah.
But
anyway,
I hear a lot more resellers talking about it, using it as their, Anyway. So we've got, we are on an hour, so we are going to start wrapping it up. If you have any more questions for Tabs, please put them in the chat. But otherwise, we're going to start closing this out. Have a good night, Terry.
Yeah.
Good night.
So we always ask our guests final 4 questions when we close things out. The first one is, what is your favorite finance related book or any media or anything that or
even like lifestyle design? It doesn't have to be financial. It could be like inspiring Instagrammers or books that you've read that helps you kind of decide like, okay, how do I want to live my life?
Yeah. Okay. So I think I can go with a YouTuber that I follow, and I enjoy his content. He's a Canadian guy. He does stock market stuff. His name is Hirye. It's HIRYE. And he just does like daily videos. Every day the stock market's open, he does a video at the end of the day. He talks about the things that he's invested. He has a community of people, and they'll kind of talk about different things like highs and lows that they're having. And I enjoy it. I enjoy his content. And that would probably be about the only one that I'm really consuming, and more just because I think I don't do that financial side as much. And then another person I enjoy, and I don't know if you guys have heard of him, his name's Economic Ninja. No? Okay. And he just does crazy videos, and he talks about things going on in the economy. He is based out of the States, but he was talking about the ships that were being held up at ports before it was on the news. Like, I find he talks about a lot of things before it's like current news, and I enjoy his titles, and I can decide by his thumbnail if I'm going to watch it or if it's something that interests me. But he's like straight to the point. His videos are like 10 minutes long, and he's usually given pretty good facts. Yeah.
Nice.
So was there one specific kind of reseller, social media, YouTube, that kind of got you started on reselling?
I didn't know there was like I said, I didn't really know there was a reselling community before I really dove into it. But when I started to like really look it up, Hustle at Home Mom was one of the first ones that I watched. And I just felt like she was so down to earth. Everything was so relatable. Yeah, I really enjoy her demeanor. And then the other one was Becky Park. I used to watch Becky Park. I mean, we both know Becky, and I enjoy her content. She's just another one, like super laid back, realistic, and she doesn't have this crazy, and I feel like I can relate a lot to her because I don't have this crazy large reselling business. Like, my active listings are under 450. Like 450 is high for me. I'm 350 to 450. I do it part-time. I work full-time. So I've really felt like I could relate to her. And yeah, I think those were my big 2 influencers.
Yeah. Those 2 are among our favorites as well. So
yeah,
those are great. What has been your favorite thing or category to resell? So we all kind of know that you resell clothing, but any subcategories that you kind of really focus in on?
I feel like I'm known for sweaters.
Oh yeah, of course.
Sweater queen. Like, I sell a lot of sweaters, knit sweaters. And it's so funny because I do not wear knit sweaters. I find them too hot. I'm always like, I don't wear them, but I love them. And I think that's why I love them even more, because it's like the thing you can't have.
Yeah.
So I think that would be what the category I sell the most of. But my favorite item that I've sold, would be those I just sold a pair of John Fluvog shoes, and they were like chunky heel lace up ones, and they're very like late 90s grunge kind of Y2K. And they probably are my absolute favorite item. Before that, it would have been a Michael Hoban leather jacket that I had found, and this would be that's now second. These shoes are my first.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And not like a crazy, like they sold for $185. So not even like a crazy sale, but that uniqueness, if I could find those kind of items every single time I went out, that would be my heart.
Yeah, we saw that. We both saw that on your Instagram, and those are so fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So our last thing is just for you to, plug your Instagram, your YouTube, anything else that you have going on. So drop your, what you're working on, all of that.
Yeah. Okay. So my Instagram is The Urban Goddess, and periods between each word. And then you can also search Tabs McCaffrey and it'll pop up. My YouTube channel is just my name, Tabs McCaffrey. And I'm not really on much other social media. I do some TikTok. I think it's just Tabs McCaffrey, but it's more just cross posting my reels over to there. I'm not. TikTok is like, it's a black hole. You will get sucked into that. You got to stay. I don't have room for dead space, so I can't. But yeah, those are my two main ones, basically Instagram and YouTube. So reach out to me. I am like most outgoing, easygoing person. I will answer every question, every message. And I look forward to meeting your subscribers as well.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Awesome. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you so much, Tabs, for joining us. You've been a great guest, and we hope that, our audience, we hope that you have gained something. It's not just about, finance, money-related things. It's about wealth, building a life of intentional living. And we think that Tabs has done so many great projects that I think that, it should hopefully inspire you to kind of look at your life as to what you value most and really try to, fixate on that so that everything else is kind of hones in on that as well in your life. So we hope that you all have gained something from this, and we hope that you subscribe to Tabs, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Yay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.